Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. My name is Matthew. Hey, quick refresher on the purpose of the channel. And I do have a little channel now, a couple videos in there, very amateurish. Set your expectations accordingly. But I do have a channel, and the purpose there is to encourage myself mainly, but any others that are interested to get up and get moving and get going and doing things. What do I have going on? I have a fun challenge that I've got planned for the next several days. And this is actually going to include some family as they're coming in for the holidays. So I'm really looking forward to that. But for today, as an opener, I wanted to speak to a question that I put across at the very tail end of a fairly recent video. And that was, well, what's the significance of the number 86,400? What if you got $86,400 deposited magically into your bank account every night at midnight? You can use that money for the whole next day however you want. No restrictions. Up to you, totally up to you to use it however you want. One little catch, though, is at the very last second of that day, any money that you don't use, it's gone. Gone forever. Toast. So, I'm no motivational speaker, but just to think about it, 86,400 is the number of seconds that there are in one day. So it's not a dollar, but it definitely has value. And so it's the same question, like, how do you think you're going to spend all of that time that you just got? Kind of makes you think about how much more you can do with it. So right there in line with get up and get moving. All right. There's how we're going to open it up, but the rest of this challenge is coming up right behind this. We're going to have a lot of fun. Hope you join us. Here we go. So let's get underway with this extreme rental challenge. We're going to go 3 days in a row with 3 really amazing rentals, all EVs, and arguably the 3 biggest, baddest EVs you can go get. But we're going to rent these one right after the next to just have some fun. So right now what we're up to is day 1, and the rental for today. Yeah, check it out. Day 1 is Rivian. So we are out and about, having a fun time, seeing what it's like to be in a Rivian, checking out, as Doug would say, all of its works and features. I have always wanted to drive one of these, and today was the day. So we'll do a little bit more here in a bit as we make our way, and then days 2 and 3 are coming along shortly. Hey everyone, wrapping up day 1 with where we spent several hours today in the Rivian R1S. A lot of fun to spend the day in what really a terrific electric SUV. I can see why everyone likes them so well. I can see why there's a waiting list in many cases to get one that you might have ordered. But hey, also I've been a car guy for a number of years. I'm definitely a car guy and a garage guy. And I've read in car magazines and online a ton of car reviews, but I've never really gave one a shot, and I'm not really going to do that here. Way too amateurish. Got to draw the line somewhere. But I'm going to go through just a quick list of the good and the bad of the Rivian R1S. And that just has to start with its handsome looks. I mean, it's just
sharp looking unit. We love the way that the Rivian R1S and the R1T look, really cool looking. Follow that up right behind that with the enormous acceleration. I mean, just heroic. Also, in the good column is the adjustable ride height. It will level itself, if you're like camping on an uneven surface. So that was really cool. The driver's seat, the dash area, the center console, and the operating system, just sort of where you spend your time when you're driving and in the R1S, that all gets high marks. Just really, really good. On the bad, just a short list here because there's not that much to not like, but the regenerative braking is just way too hardcore. We have an EV in our family and their settings are off, and 1 and 2 being the most aggressive. There's 3 settings in the R1S and there is really no off, and the lightest setting is just, it really bites the car down really, really quickly. So it's true one pedal driving, but it'd be nice to be able to turn it off and coast, depending on the driving circumstances. The general ride, this is getting a little picky, but in my opinion, it's just a little on the bulby side, meaning not what you would ever call a crisp, spirited ride. It's an SUV. It's a fairly large SUV. And it's very heavy, so I get it. I was just looking for it to be a tiny bit on the more sporty and crisp side. And then finally, wanted to mention not about the R1S, but the experience in renting. Today was the first time I'd ever used the peer-to-peer car rental version of Airbnb. So this is called Turo. They've been around for a little while, but this is the first time I've used it. Way too many emails coming from the platform. Some of it is, 15-20% of it is very helpful, need to know information, but just too much chit chat and pings and reminders of every type coming at my phone. Some of that is made to be worse because I am renting 3 cars in 3 days, but a lot of it is just because it's just too dang much. All right, so that's the good, the bad on a Rivian R1S. By the way, this is the quad motor version. You can get them in 2, 3, and 4 motors. So this is the 4 motor, 835 horsepower and 900 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, it's just an absolute animal, when you press on the accelerator. Today was a little bit rainy in Dallas, so we had to really practice some caution. Yeah, so that's going to wrap us up for day 1 of the 3-day extreme rental series. Looking forward to the next 2 days where we get even a little kookier. We will see you with day 2 and the rental for that day. Here we are, day 2 of the extreme rental series. Tricked up way of saying we're having a blast renting a big bad EV every day of Thanksgiving week and just having a ton of fun out busting around in, well, you can kind of see it. This one is the Cybertruck. And by the way, this thing is just wacky cool. And we've just been enjoying the heck out of it. So I'll do a pros and cons at the end of today, kind of like we did yesterday for the Rivian. But preliminarily, I'm going to say that we are firm that the Cybertruck is wicked cool, completely awesome in a ton of different ways. Almost hard to describe how much fun we've had kind of checking it out, getting all the quirks and features sorted. But just in a straight up raw comparison against the Rivian from yesterday, and the Rivian is a very, very cool special thing, smokes it like in every possible way. Maybe a couple little things go the direction of the Rivian, but man, this thing is too much. We are wrapping up day 2 of the rental series this week. We've had a ton of fun, like an incredible amount of fun. It's kind of a cool idea now that I pay attention to it a little bit more, just to set them up and knock them down one day after the next. We're going to wrap up today, much like we did yesterday, with a little quick pros and cons of 2025 Tesla Cybertruck. Top of the list of the pros is just the driving experience. It has been phenomenal, and especially the four-wheel steering capability. This makes this big thing like manageable to drive. I mean, so the driving experience is phenomenal. The four-wheel steering, phenomenal. The look of it for us, honestly, I know that's a thing that a lot of people talk about, a lot about, and for obvious reasons. But for us, the looks are in the pros category. The visibility through the windshield, the driver's position, the center screen, and the operating system is all just wonderfully executed, honestly. It's really interesting. So none of us had ever been in one, we'd never driven one, certainly. And so when you get in a Cybertruck for the first time, and you're just really, and you have to spend like 20 minutes just figuring out what to do. But when then you get it all sorted and you're on your way, and it's a really interesting experience. The last thing that I would put in the pros column is, this is kind of weird to say and think, but it's the way it makes you feel. Like driving a Cybertruck, it's something. This is not, your everyday running around kind of vehicle, although you can certainly treat it like that. But it is definitely a wild and crazy thing to be in and driving, and it makes you just feel something that you typically don't. All right, short little list of the bad, because honestly there's not too much, and that it has to start with the looks. For many, I've just got to acknowledge that for a lot of people this is too much. This is not their cup of tea, and I completely get that. There are definitely a lot of sharp edges that you see sometimes people talk about, or this is just that will cut you if you walk too close to that without a sleeve on or something. After that, there's a list of things that it's more subjective than just a for sure con. But for us, that's kind of where that list ends. I mean, this is a wicked cool ride. We've really enjoyed it. All right, so that kind of gets us to the end of day 2. We've got day 3 coming up. Talk to you tomorrow. Here we are, day 3. Man, what a ton of fun to rent these 3 big bad boy EVs, one right after the next, and just get a real good sense and flavor for how they're similar and different. A little worn out with all the all the drop-offs and pickups and charging before you turn it back in, charging that you wouldn't otherwise do because they still had plenty of range. But just per the rental instructions, you got to get them charged back up. But you can see what we're doing here. This is a 2025 GMC Hummer, and it has been quite interesting. I'm going to flip the camera and just give it a quick walk around. As you can see how we have those wheels turned, and it does four-wheel steering about as well as the Cybertruck. But man, what it does is crab walk, and I'll be putting that up here just in a second.
That's weird.
Hey everyone, going to wrap up day 3 here, and then just a couple of final comments on the previous 3 days for our 3-day Extreme EV rental series. Today we did the GMC Hummer. So in the good column, we felt like, interestingly, despite its massive size and 9,000 pound weight, it felt oddly familiar and fairly approachable. We were figuring that this might be what if you were to hop in a brand new, like 2026 Suburban or Yukon or Tahoe with an updated dash, and then just start taking off, just drive. The driving experience was terrific, but it didn't really hit you over the head with it being an EV or totally unique and different in every every possible way, like the Cybertruck was the day before. And due to the four-wheel steering, the turning radius was nothing short of amazing. I mean, even better than the Cybertruck by quite a bit. It was on par with what you would expect in like a really tiny little Honda or Toyota. I mean, you can just damn near turn circles in a driveway, and with its size, that's just really amazing. And then thirdly, on the good, we really liked how easy it was to remove the 4 separate roof panels. One by one, you could have the front 2 open, or all 4, or just the back 2, any configuration you want, but they come off individually in like less than 20 seconds. I mean, then you got to figure out where you're going to put them while you have them off, because putting them in the truck bed probably wouldn't make the most sense, but nonetheless, very easy to take them off and put them back on. All right, so in terms of the cons of the GMC Hummer EV, just a couple to note. The operating system seemed a tad finicky. Not bad, but I do want to make the comment, in particular, the settings and sequence to activate the famous crab walk was just about what you'd say is ridiculous. We understand that they're making it, making a few steps part of the process so it wouldn't happen accidentally perhaps, but it took some effort to try and figure out how to get that feature turned on. Once you did have it turned on, it was wacky. And then the interior noise on the highway. So we're talking about a huge vehicle. Not one bit of it is aerodynamic, and it's up tall, huge tires and wheels, and the windshield is basically on a just straight up vertical. So everything is trying to grab the wind. And it does. So anything over like 50, 60 miles an hour, it is almost too loud to be able to have a conversation on the inside. Okay, but taken all together, what a cool truck. I mean, it's huge. It's absolutely massive in every kind of dimension and way to look at it. But, you could get in it and drive it and do okay. It was pretty cool. We liked it. Okay, and then how do we like it compared to the day before, the Cybertruck? And the day before that, the Rivian? That starts to get interesting. And, the Rivian, we felt like we were surprised at how short it fell. Really felt surprised by that. And the Cybertruck, it was the opposite. We were surprised at how much we liked it. And then the Hummer was like, it kind of seemed like what we were expecting. So we definitely give the Cybertruck a solid A. I'm going to give the Hummer, I'm going to give that a B+, and then I'm going to have to give the Rivian, B, maybe B-. I don't know, it's getting pretty picky, but in that neighborhood. So that's going to wrap us up. We'll see you on the next one.